little child from school.
Okay. All right. Hi,
Victoria.
Flacco. Okay. Well, okay, let me start first. We were talking before this, but let me start
Mhm.
first by asking you to introduce yourself, who you are, where do you live, what do you do, what sets your soul on fire?
Um, my real name is Elizabeth Flock, but they call me Flacco because I guess it's just cool. And my other alias is Mother Flocker. I'm a mother of four, the greatest accomplishment in my entire life. And everything I do revolves around making good choices and leading my little posse into greatness. Um, but the reality is, in my day job, in my world travels, I have been a marketer. So specifically in digital, around sports and entertainment, and media for 13 years. Worked with some major global brands like ESPN,
Nope.
um,
Just ESPN. It's fine.
Barstool Sports Guys, every major college, university, and conference you can imagine, the college football playoff, couple of celebrities and athletes, just trying to help them. Usually they come to me because they want customers and they want to make more money. And then usually what ends up happening is I build their business or rebuild their business from the ground up before we do that because, well, you know how it is. The infrastructure is not sound and the operations aren't sound and the people aren't ready. It will fall flat. So,
Yeah.
you know,
You're like a
like Bob the Builder,
yeah, like a marketer, but a marketer version.
Betty the Builder,
Betty the Builder.
Flacco the Foreman.
Oh, that might work.
Oh
I
my
think we
God.
can
I do
agree
come
to.
from a real estate construction background in my former life when I was married.
Block up,
The many careers of a 6-2 manifesting generator.
which is the best. So
Literally, people are
yesterday,
like, how do you know so much? You seem like a know-it-all. I'm like, well, here's the story. I get bored really easy. I master shit quickly. And then I move on to the next challenge because my brain never stops working. It's annoying. I read all the time. I'm a plethora of random knowledge. You're welcome. I'm sorry.
well, also you have the line too, which is just the natural talent. And so like you're just fucking wise. Like you just can't help it.
I woke up like this. Stop. I'm just kidding.
So, okay,
yeah.
before we started the call or before we started recording, you were talking about how, well, I was talking about all the serendipity in my life and how exciting it is. And I brought up
Mm-hmm.
the time 5:55, and then you brought up we were in it at 5:55 yesterday working on the
We
shit. And so I
were. We
want to talk
were.
about what we were working on. And I want you to share what specific challenges you've been going through and um, how the experience was yesterday working through it.
Okay, so and the short of it, like I just turned 45 a few months ago, and the whole joke about like midlife crisis, I don't think it's a midlife crisis, it's just a midlife pivot. It's the reality of in this next season of my life, what do I want to really be known for? Where do I bring value and impact? And then how can I create, legacy in my own home and in my community, but paving a road for my children, right? In a world that we talk about all the time is a little upside down right now. And it's okay. It's being turned upside down because people like you and I are going to come in and say, wait, here's the better way to do this. And it's so much easier, right? So it's uncomfortable for us because we've been operating in a methodology of the world to stay functioning in the world. But you and I both don't super duper align with what's happening and we see things differently. So I was looking at recently, like I had about a month off ish. And it was a decompression phase. And I really worked through letting some stuff go. You helped me really, really like get rid of some stuff that's been in there for about 7 or 8 months. Um, but I want to bring value. And I realize where I spend most of my time when I work with clients and corporations isn't just on their marketing. It really is their people, it's their culture, it's their operations, it's their procedures, it's the things that really matter. Because if your business is sound and your people are strong and they feel heard and you understand who they are, you and I are obviously you're a huge human design person. I am as well. If they're in their lane of genius, then work isn't work. It's just people coming together with common goals that align, and it just magnetically happens. You don't have to force a square peg into a round hole. It literally just happens. But we weren't taught these things. We've never been taught this methodology, but people like you and I get it. And then we go in and we're speaking Swahili because we're like, wait, you're making it so much harder. Like we can just give us like, this give us like 45 days and this will be like magic. But you can't bottle magic. It's hard to sell an intangible. So you have to do it the hard way before we can make it easy. So I've been struggling with, like, everyone knows me as this social media girl, the marketing girl. But the reality is it's so much more than that. Like, I really don't do social media anymore. We do data, we do advertising, but really it's the data. Like, I have somehow integrated into this whole data space, and I understand analytics and numbers, and I can story tell around that, right? And that's become a bigger value prop. But it really comes down to my relationships happen quickly and they're very deep and they are lifelong. And the reality is I build the trust of decision makers quickly, not by trying. It's a part of my 6-2 Manny-Gen lifeline stuff. It's always been that way. And my children are reaching the age that they're going into the corporate world and they're having real jobs. My oldest is 22. I have one that's 20. And in the next 5 to 7 years, they're going to experience a bad boss. They're going to experience a bad coworker experience, right? Right. We all do. It's fantastic. It can be very traumatic and it can really rock your soul. It can rock your confidence. It can take you from feeling like you're a rock star to you're a piece of shit. And it's terrible, but compounded over time can really do damage. And I personally have experienced that. My industry leads to highly egotistical, driven, type A, I'm know everything personalities who are leaders. Unfortunately, not all of them, but a lot. And I think over time, I just kind of was like, yeah, whatever. But then I became really awakened and I became really adverse to that type of behavior and it affected me differently. And so I've been having trouble with I'm sacral, like that's where I create all of my creativity. I'm like a creative genius. I wake up with 50 ideas and I vet them quickly and go, 5 of those would stick. Yeah. And I've been blocked just trying to figure out how to go from everyone knowing me as a marketer to someone who actually is like a paid emotional support human, leader, educator. People do pay me to be their emotional support human. I just want you to know.
I agree. Me too.
And I'm like, okay. And then some of them I'm like, listen, I just Venmo'd you because I'm going to need you to spend a little extra this month. You are really, it's a lot this month, bro. It's a lot. Like I had to buy more gin. So like, I'm going to need you to help me out. Okay. Thank you. Call it earth water. It's earth water.
It is.
But the reality is yesterday, I'm at that place where I know it's time to make the jump. I know it's time to change my narrative and change my story and to segue from one to the next. And you made me understand that I'm not making a drastic jump, which I felt was a drastic jump, but really it's just an extension of what I've always done. And then you made me so confident in the fact that you're like, and when you tell people, everyone's going to be like, well, duh. Where I see myself so differently and the perception of what people believe about me. But then you were validating. I was like, right. Yeah, of course they'll be like, of course that's what she should do. She does that anyway.
Right.
And so it was this beautiful breakthrough. I released some stuff that's been in there that I had recently had an opportunity. It was a great opportunity, but unfortunately leadership really like there were some times where it sat different in my spirit and I absorbed it differently and it was like in there like swimwear, man, and I had to get it out and I couldn't get it out. Like I meditated, I exercised, I prayed, I did all the ceremonial things to try to be like, all right, like let me call somebody and woo this bitch out, but I couldn't get it out. And like the best part yesterday was you had me focusing on it and I swear I saw like the Snoop Dogg Olympic smoke rings, right, thing, Well, I saw this big, huge, like smoke ring cloud go like this. And like I walked out like, bitch better have my money. Like, I'm coming up. And I just like walked through it like, yeah, I'm back, bitch. It was so cool.
It was so cool. And when you came out of that balance and you said that to me, it like washed over me because I was like, yeah, because it felt like when I was talking to you, and I know you well, right? And it's like when I
Yeah,
was talking to you, I was like, your sacral is like completely blocked. Like you were not
right.
feeling motivated, you were not feeling creative, you were not feeling on purpose. You were just kind of like, yeah, I can do it, but like you were just kind of like, which is not your spirit. Your spirit is so vivacious and
Yeah,
outgoing and exciting and or idea oriented and actionable. And
yeah.
it was like all of that part was just under that smoke ring. It was
And it made
like,
me feel like, oh my God, I could, like, I've done this for so long and I'm so good at it. Like, I really, it's like breathing to me. It's not work. It's never been work, which is why I've done it for so long and I've loved it. But something was like, eh. But there's also the part where, like, it's a part of what I do, but it's not going to be the last chapter of what I do,
yeah,
you know? And
yeah,
so that's been a real, like I because I am such a like let's go after it, let's just jump, let's go kind of person, not being able to like figure out how to get from here to there like in a transition that would make sense.
mhm.
Because I kept saying to you like I need to tell my story on like LinkedIn, so that's where people go to find people to like do business with them and whatever. And you were like, you said, you were like, really, is that what you believe? And I was like, well, I don't leave the house very much anymore. So like I don't know how people are gonna find me because I'm in my hermit phase.
Yeah, yeah. Which
Yeah.
we then talked about your line 6 is in your hermit phase, but your line 2 is always hermiting. And so right now you're just like in your
Yeah, like
fucking
I'm like an ancient hermit crab with a big old shell, and I get like way up in there, and I'm like, someone's knocking on the door, and I'm like, yeah, I just don't really want to slither out for that
someone
one.
else can get it.
I'm just fine. Just leave a message. Leave a message.
This
Which
idea,
is so
right? Like,
ironic because when people meet me, they're like, but you're so outgoing and you're so funny and you're so all these things. And I'm like, yeah, you should know I have a really unhealthy love affair with my bed and my laptop, like in tandem. And then like Emily in Paris, like it's like a whole trifecta of you get some sushi to my, I'm, I'm done, bro. Like we're good. Friday
like,
night is on lock.
and I think so, you know, I love human design because of that, because it gives you the validation of your experience. And like, so like me reflecting back to you, like, no wonder you're in your fucking house, right? Like you're
Yeah.
on the roof as a line 6 and you're pulling back from your experience and you're looking outside of yourself and you're kind of, and that process gave you this kind of reflection that the world was not really a friendly place and people were
Yeah.
terrible. And
Yeah,
so it
which
worked
is
through.
totally not like me. I was like a positive Polly my whole life. And then I became like a realist. But I was like, man, I'm borderline negative ass Nelly because I'm like, everyone's terrible. I'm over terrible people. But the reality is not everyone is terrible. It's just that I've had a few terrible experiences. And just the compounding interest of it, if you will, has led to me just being kind of like, no, I want to be in retreat mode. And
And detached, right? Like you were like, I don't
yeah,
even want to go out on these streets. Like it was like,
yeah, I just want to be a trust fund baby, but I don't have a trust fund.
yeah. So we
Anybody
talked
out there that wants
about
to adopt me, I am adoptable.
I'm
I make
open
a
to
great
market.
emotional support human. I'm a really good world traveler. I'm a ride or die. I will let you do whatever you want as long as we don't go to jail. Call me. I'm
Also, as long as
available.
you're not gone for more than a week at a time because you like your bed.
See, sorry. So I'm like a 6 day limit kind of go. You got to put me on the Gulf Stream back home, and then like I could hit you back up like 4 days later after I recover. You know what I'm
Don't
saying?
act like you're gonna spend your whole life traveling.
I take way too much shit. Like my like skincare routine and like all my little vitamins. Like that's a whole sitch. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot. I'd have to ship it over there in advance. It's fine.
Many, many, many comfortable beds with TVs
I
all over.
would. Bedding is big for me when I travel. It's huge. So see, it's a whole comfort thing. And I'm also getting older. So like I'm in this real unique I'm in this really unique space and I've been tormented about it because I'm overthinking it and I'm overanalyzing it. Cause like, look, I can build anyone's brain in 20 minutes. And so can you. You can build a project plan in an hour and we'll be off to the races, like making $1,000,000. But anything that revolves around me, it's like this, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm a perfectionist anymore. I'm like a bit of a reformed, retired.
Recovering.
I have
We
to,
call it
yeah,
recovering.
recovering because I have to go back into it sometimes because it's important. But I'm like, oh man, if I open Pandora's box, bro, that is not a good look for me. I know me and it's not good. But the reality is, when it's about me, it's really hard. But part of it is you nailed it, where like I'm in a double reflection hermit mode naturally by my design. It has nothing to do with choice because it's not really my choice. If I'm being honest, like I'm feeling like this is where I have to be versus where I'm like, but no, I need to go. And my natural body is like, no, you
Yeah.
don't. And so it's weird. Like if you don't understand that, like people who don't understand their human design or their life path and like what could be happen energetically, spiritually, if you don't have that depth of knowledge, I mean, you push yourself past exhaustion, you push yourself into places that you are not designed to go, which causes resentment and burnout and all of those things. It's super important, especially when you get to our age, to just know who you are, right? And a big part of what I've been struggling with is you've helped me to like break through on it. And now I'm like, okay, I have to do this. Is I have so many stories, places, people, things that in my whole life, if you would have asked me when I was 20, do you ever think that this would happen? I'd be like, no. Like, I'm some mom from Tampa. Like, yeah, okay. You're going to have me sitting at a table with the CEO of Evite and the CMO of Microsoft and a VIP dinner in Vegas talking to like the 50 most brilliant people in the room. Like, really? And Steve Aoki's on the DJ board. Like, no, no, it's Wednesday, bro. No, I'm gonna be at home doing carpool and shit. Like, no. And like literally just the places and the things that I've done. And I'm like, cool. Like it's just a Wednesday in Vegas and we're here. And like that became my life for so long, but I never shared any of my stories. I've never shared the experience of being brought into corporations and having a narcissistic general manager who was abusing and berating the team. And I stood in the gap. And man, let me tell you what, you want to talk about energy warfare? Big time. Like I thought I broke my hip because my hip was absorbing the pain. And when I finally didn't work there anymore, I could walk again. It was insane. But I helped build those people in their lane of genius. They left when I left and they went to start their own companies and they're thriving in that lane of genius. Like those
Yeah.
things are so pivotal, but I never told the story. And I think there's been a part of me that I never told my story about my divorce. I've been really quiet about all of it. And all of that was the catalyst to the last 12, 13 years of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And it's made me who I am today and the understanding of my human design and all those things. And I've been really afraid to share because there is a lot of vulnerability in that. And I'm not afraid to
But
be
a lot of,
vulnerable with
but a lot
you.
of power, right? Like I think
Yeah.
when you share your story, it empowers other people to identify with it and to be like, especially as a line six, like you are the role model. It's like you've gone through the trenches and the shit and all of this to be able to guide others with not only this realistic felt sense of empathy, but it's because you lived it. It's like you're not like me where I'm like, my life has been pretty fucking easy and I know how to get you to where you want to go. Like it's like boop, 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 but I didn't live that. I can't understand from a lived sense. I can empathize and I can sympathize and I can feel how I think I would feel, but you have this very real sense of lived experience that needs to be shared with others because it really does empower other people. And we had talked yesterday about like you have this podcast like Holy Shift, right? But you've
Yeah.
never
With Mother
launched it.
Flocker. Yeah, no.
You've never launched it. And I was like, why the fuck haven't you launched it? Right. So yesterday we were breaking through not only like unblocking your sacral and making sure that you could feel creative and empowered, but also like we need to start telling that story. Like you need to start telling these stories. You have 6 amazing episodes with fucking epic people. Like, and you can probably record 27,000 more, you know, it's like, and so I think leading to the next question, it's like, how did yesterday's session, how did it impact your ability to move forward? And how is removing those blocks opening up new opportunities maybe that you didn't see before, or connections that you didn't see before?
I just feel like more in alignment again. Like, and I feel like, okay, I have a lot ahead of me. There's a lot to build. There's a lot to do, but like, manage your expectations. Like, you don't have to build Rome tomorrow, right? You can just space it. Terrible analogy because that shit fucking crumbled. But anyway,
We're not
point
building
being,
Rome. Okay, we're
we're
building
not building Rome. We're building utopia. Our neighborhood, our subdivision we talked about yesterday, we're building our utopia communities.
You're like, I envisioned you as our HOA president.
Yeah, you're the HOA president, and you're gonna vet all these people. You're gonna run them through the whole Colby and the human design. We're gonna run them through an energy scan, okay? And we're gonna be like, "Ooh, you go on this side of the neighborhood. This is trauma IO1. We can rock with you, okay? But trauma 5, we're gonna need to put like this energy wall, like to keep it for a little bit until we can get you on
The iron
one. Yes, that's right. So no, but it just made it easier to realize, like, I was focusing more on like work and like clients and pouring more into their stuff, not realizing that by not pouring into myself and pouring into the purpose, whether it makes money or not, is a part of the balance for me. And it reminds me that people are good and that they have a story to share. And with the world right now, everything is so negative. The media, social media, everything is just so negative. The energetic frequency just feels heavy. We all feel it. We felt it. So it's like, okay, I have to like shift out of that and get into a place where I'm helping to share positivity with the collective, hope, inspiration, whatever that is. But I don't want to be the face all the time. Like, I don't want to be like the one standing there with the microphone that's like, listen to me, I'm so smart. It's, here are my people, here is their story. They've been through cancer. They were, saved angelically from a drive-by when they were a child. They went on to be, famous athlete, like, who's done great in the world. Like, everybody has a beautiful story. Everybody has shit in their story. And that's kind of the point of it. Like, the holy shift or the holy shit moment is something happens that you weren't expecting, whether it's good or traumatic, and you have a choice in that moment, and that choice leads to the next step in your path. And we have many of those moments. If you're an evolving person and you want to grow and you want to thrive, you're gonna have a couple of holy shit moments. It's inevitable, right? The greatest people in this world that have achieved anything probably have 6 to 8 before they're done. And so to me, I think I'm on iteration 3. So I'm anticipating at least 3 or 4 more before I throw in the towel and kiss everybody goodbye and go live on an island where no one can find me.
But on a golf cart drinking gin.
It's like my new favorite hobby now. Listening to music. Oh, bro, I was listening to like some 70s and 80s music, like singing in the golf cart at the top of my lungs last night. And people were driving by and I was just singing. I was holding on to the oh shit grip and I was just singing. I was not even drunk. I was sober. There was sober Sally all the way.
But this is a representation of your joy being back, because you weren't feeling that yesterday.
No, I was like, whatever, bro. And then I was, and my boyfriend was like, oh my God, you are hilarious. He's like, I love it when you're all like, and I was like singing him songs, and he pulled over and he was like, sing to me. And I was like, all dramatic. And it was so funny. We were just dying laughing. It was the best.
I love it. I love that.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Listen, I have been, I'm going to be straight up with you. Like, the shit storm, the sludge, it was sludge. Started like, it felt like, remember November-ish?
Mm.
And it kind of was like, so like February is when it really was like, yeah, no. And then it was like compounding from there. And so it's been in there for a hot minute. And all the things I've tried didn't work. And like, you really helped me like spiritually, but you also helped me like, you're so good at like that whole like strategy, project management. Like, you're so brilliant at that business side. And like, you helped me like mind map out like what I've been trying to articulate, but in the simplest form because I was stuck.
Yeah.
Again, is my crap. I'm stuck. You give me your stuff, cool, same, right? But I was stuck. And now I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. And there's an opportunity there and there and there. And that's all connecting. We're back.
Yeah.
We're back.
And that's, I think, the most beautiful part of what I get to help people with is like, it doesn't need to be complicated to remove the sludge. Like, I think we only did 3 or 4 balances yesterday in our 90 minutes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that transformation was able to connect you back to your creativity, connect you back to the creative problem solving brain that you have. It turned on your ability to find new opportunities. And so, can you describe kind of like if you can think back to like prior to our call, right? Like you were feeling kind of meh. And then after our call, it was like I could see it evolving, right? And like,
Yeah.
so if you think about yesterday and how this transformation and just kind of removing the stuff that needed to be kind of cleansed out of the system, um, how did that shift your perspective? And what did you feel internally from the session?
Well, I was also feeling overwhelmed about a project that I acquired that I wasn't sure. And it's something that I went to school for that, but I haven't done really in a long time. I can still do it, but it's just not like I'm not practicing the gift. So the craft is not as good. And I realized I could outsource and get some help. And that turned out to be a beautiful thing. So that really, it was more like, okay, now I'm overseeing and like doing what I do well is educate, inform, guide. Hey, this is what I need. Here's everything you need. Can you make XYZ come to this? And could you get that to me? And oh, by the way, like send me a couple and then guide and lead, you know? And it freed me up to do something else. So then I was like, oh, okay, now I'm excited about it because I'm actually doing the part that I want to do,
Yeah.
not the entire thing that's really probably not in my lane of genius at this place in my life. Back 20 years ago was like I couldn't wait to get into Photoshop and design some fancy, thing. Now I'm like, oh, Dios mío, here we go. So while I'm wildly creative, I think my analytical side is utilized more often now. And so I felt creatively blocked, which
Yeah.
meant even my facts finding side was like, whatever, bro. Like
Yeah.
it was very like, whatever, bro. And I'm not a whatever, bro kind of girl. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you just like limit self-belief? That I'm sorry. Did you just say we're only making $1 million? Bitch, we're making 10. I'm sorry. We don't subscribe to no, that is not where we rock. And I felt like lately I was just like, it's fine, whatever. It's fine,
Also
whatever. Like,
complexity. It felt like a dulled, I mean, it was a dulled sacral, but it was more this like
yeah,
complexity and kind of this like this have to do rather than get to do. And I feel
correct.
like this the shift that you had yesterday was like you came into it being very much like I have to do this because I need money and I have 4 kids and I have to take it was very like and then by the end of it, it was like, oh my God, and I have this opportunity. And it was almost like you didn't even see the opportunity in front of you for what it could be because
Mm-hmm.
of that block. And it was like we started talking about that opportunity with PLN and like
Yep.
how you could start mixing your purpose into what they're doing. And that, like, I legitimately saw your whole sacral light up on the call, and I was like, there she is. Like,
Yeah, no, and I think too, like, I think that there's probably a receptiveness to exploring utilizing me in other capacities that are like more in alignment with my current gifting and and abilities, right? Like, because
I mean,
those shift
yeah,
and change
I'm
over
going to
time.
interrupt you because it wasn't until after we did all of these blocks and these balances that you were like, oh yeah, yesterday he was like, I don't think we're using you to your fullest capabilities. And I think there's opportunity for more. You didn't even like, you were like, yeah, whatever. Like, it was like, and I was like, wait, what? Like, he's legitimately telling you that, but your subconscious is pushing it away because you feel so creatively blocked.
Totally. But the reality is like what I think we should do, it's gonna be like would be like epic, could be epic.
It's going to
Is
be epic because now you're
yeah,
fire about it.
yeah, because I'm like, oh, we could totally do this. We could do this. We could totally do this. And it would be in conjunction with the other stuff, but like in segments and like put it like, and I'm like, oh, wow, this could be ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think this is an important thing I want to just kind of tie a bow around because even when we have these experiences that reflect back to us our, for instance, like, oh my God, you're so smart, you're so creative, you're so whatever, like everybody loves you. If you have a block internally, you don't even hear it or see it.
No.
And like for you, you were in this muck for so long and absorbing
Yeah.
all of this negativity and energy and really being a sponge for other people's bullshit that
Yeah.
it dimmed your own light and it clouded your perspectives and it limited your ability to stand in who you are and what your purpose is and how you bring magic to the world. And I think that's the favorite thing about what I do is that we're not doing hard, strenuous shit. It's easy and it's joyous and it's a lightening, right? It's like you're
Mm-hmm.
just releasing the shit that's not yours so that you can truly come into more alignment. You said it earlier, like I feel like in more alignment. And so I want you to talk about, and we talk about like all the different things, like you were like, you need Reiki, you need subconscious reprogramming, you need tarot, like, so I would love to hear your perspective of, because I know you've, gone to therapy and you've done so many different healing modalities. And I want you to kind of articulate, if you can, like what is different about my approach versus a traditional therapy approach or Reiki or any other kind of healing modality? Like, what is the difference of working with me versus going to these other practitioners?
Well, I've done plenty of therapy like in my life. My kids have done it. I went through a divorce. It was awful. Like prior to the divorce, there was years of personal and then couple, and it just like therapy is great for people who really need it. But the reality is people could spend their whole life in therapy and never actually change and sit in that couch or that call and bitch about the same shit over and over again. But if you go to therapy, you actually have to change, or you have to get to a like you got to dig deeper. And the reality is I don't know that people tell the truth in therapy because I don't think therapists ask the right questions sometimes, right? I've had 4 different therapists, so not to be rude to therapists, but like I've done the gamut. Like trust me, like I am a girl who does not like pain in any regard, so I will do anything to emancipate myself and get it out of my body. So
Yeah.
Reiki, I came about Reiki about 9 years ago. Truly one of the most amazing things I've ever done. Like I could call my girl, she comes over, and within 3 hours, like I jokingly said to you, the song "I'm Walking on Sunshine." Like I feel like a really heavy, nasty sponge that's been wrung out, and you could just throw it, and it just kind of like lands wherever it's gonna land. It is a complete it's amazing, right? But you have to be receptive to want to heal. Like people who like pain and like to suffer, none of these things will work unless you actually know, like, hey, there's something wrong. I can't fix it. I probably need someone who can help me. What you do is like we focus on like instead of all of the fucking problems in your life, which we all have plenty of them, small or big, you're focusing on the one thing, like yesterday, the one thing that was fucking up so much of my life. Like it was this thing, but it was like trickling into other parts of my life that were causing more pain. And we went right to the root cause. And I had to be honest with myself like, when did it start? This is when it started. And this is why. And like there's a lot of awareness of like, fuck, I let that happen, but here's why I let it happen. Okay, we're not going to do that again. And then we got in there, and then we worked through me releasing that, because the problem is we hold on to shit in different pockets of our brain, in our body, and then it's stuck there. And unless you actually consciously say, okay, this shit doesn't occupy space anymore, like, because you know what, it's not serving me. And you can say like, oh, I let it go, it's gone.
Yeah.
Please, have you ever been into like an old storage room with dusty like shelves and files? Honey, please, that one's in the back corner. We won't need to pull that whole cabinet out. Like, and so I think the reality is like, it's about being honest with yourself and wanting to have someone help you, because you already know your bullshit. You know your bullshit. You just like to pretend it doesn't exist. But if you want to be successful, you want to be a good leader, you want to be a good wife, husband, parent, community servant, just a fucking good person to the person in the grocery store. Like you have to be, everybody has to do inner work. We all have to do it. And it doesn't just stop, oh, I did this one time and it was great. No, because it's an evolving thing. Like we are human sponges. So we talk about this, right? Like, I don't believe in just God and Christianity. I believe in science. I believe in quantum physics. I believe in metaphysics. I believe in Reiki. I believe in energy healing. I believe in psyche and subconscious reprogramming. I believe in all of it. It all works together. I believe in tarot, because listen, if God created the sun, the moon, the stars, and the universe, and the atmosphere, and all the things that everyone believes, he's the all-knowing creator under begin, alpha, omega, and he created the planets that are perfectly aligned and float in this big black abyss of what the fuck, and we don't just drop. The earth has to weigh fucking 12 quadrillion pounds, right? The water alone on earth weighs
That's
fucking
science. Quadrillion.
quadrillion. I don't even know if that's a word, but I need one up. Urban Dictionary, here I come. But the reality is everyone's like, oh, well, that it's astrology doesn't count. Yes, it does. Because listen, I was not supposed to be born on February 7th, but I was. I believe that everything in life is predestined. Like we are destined for a destiny, and there's already a path laid out for us. Where we get off of our path is when we allow the world and people who are not in tune with their own shit to project their expectations, like our parents. Oh, you should go be an attorney. But I don't want to fucking be an attorney. I'd really love to be a fucking sculpture creator and have, and yeah, okay, I might not make any money in America, but I probably make a fuck ton of money in Europe. Like we live in these bubbles and these boxes with these labels and these constraints. And it starts when we're children. And instead of allowing us to flow freely and then know that our human design and who we are is, we're already destined, we're already gonna be, it's gonna be, right? We
It's
have free
just
will.
whether or not it's going to be a hard road or an easy road, right? It's like,
Right.
yeah.
And we're not taught about these things. You're not taught about this. Like my parents don't know about human design. They didn't know about Reiki. They didn't know about Colby. They don't know about shit. Like I love my grandfather. May he rest in heaven. He is my archangel guardian every day. He was in the military. He didn't know any better. So he raised my mom and that family. And then my mom raised me that way. And like shit, my mom and I had to have like a whole reprogramming of our relationship over the last 8 years. I love my mom. She is a queen. She's the greatest thing that ever come to the earth. I love her. She's amazing. She's also a witch. Like she's a sorceress. I know it. She won't tell me. It's a real thing though. We all know it. We do. It's fine. Gotta get my magic somewhere. But my point is like, she is a Taurus. She's a nurse. She's highly analytical. She lives in a box. She birthed a child who's an Aquarius, who like literally is a manifesting generator, who's like, do you guys want that to me? And they're like, oh, we can't get that. And I'm like, hold on. We have reservations at 7. Everybody get ready. Like, and I danced circles around the box. So we had to have a convergence of understanding when I became an adult around childhood traumas, which I don't have a lot of them, but like parenting styles and communication and understanding, because the empathy and understanding that I didn't have as a child was starting to affect me as an adult in a really big life shift, where I just like, Mom, I just need you to support me and love me. Like, stop
For who I
telling
am.
me to be a nurse. I fucking hate blood and needles, Carol. I hate them. Okay. And she was like, fine, but like, you have to do that work, because if you don't, at a certain point in life, it impacts everything. And then you get to a place in life where purpose becomes important.
Mhm.
legacy and purpose, it doesn't matter how old you are, it becomes important. It's in there, it's embedded in us. And there's a point at which we're supposed to like give back the wisdom, the knowledge, the resources, the open doors that we've amassed.
Yeah. And we talked about this yesterday with one of your clients about this and that quote that I gave you of like, I have a full wallet, but an empty soul. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because what they were doing and what they were amassing wasn't connected to who they are. And that's kind of, you and I are on that same page of like, we go into places and I work with individuals, right? But you go into organizations and you're like, but who are you? Like, what do you stand for? Like, what are your values? What is important to you? What kind of legacy do you want to live? And those are the conversations you're having in these organizations and building around that, because what we don't want to see is how the world is upside down right now and everything is being tousled up, is because businesses were built on quicksand. There wasn't a sense of giving back, community service, and an intrinsic kind of alignment to purpose and having that community. And I think what I like doing, to your point earlier, is that you have that amazing ability to go into these organizations to truly create and build the future of business and what that looks like. And you were so blocked that you couldn't be aligned to your purpose, because I gave you that analogy. It felt like a hose was like being kinked, like it was like
Yeah.
not moving forward, right?
Yeah. Like
And
at first it was received, and then all of a sudden it was like, sit down and don't talk,
yeah,
and it was like,
that conditioning
but
time.
wait, like this is going to be a problem. It'll be fine. And then it was a problem. And I'm like,
Yeah.
saw that coming. And so it was a very difficult. I've never been in a situation like that. Like, I feel like any time I've ever worked for someone, they saw my value, they knew my value, they hired me for this, but knew they were going to get all of this too. And it was a beautiful relationship and evolution of the brand, the company, the profits, the growth.
Well, and I think
And
what you just said, right, is that because you had that experience where it was almost like they were snuffing your brilliance out, and then you created that for yourself. You were snuffing yourself out even after you left this company. And that's what happens to so many people,
yeah,
is that we have these experiences, which are just really here to show us where we need to grow and learn and let go. But you had this experience where it was like there was obviously a disconnect between what your experience was and what you were getting back. And that is what I do, right? Like that's the distance between what you're experiencing and what you think you believe or what you think you know or what you think you deserve. It's because there's a dissonance between your subconscious and your conscious.
yeah,
You do that work, I think what you said earlier was really great. Like, I don't care necessarily about all the stories. I care about what is the root of all of these issues, right? Like the
right.
root of all of these issues was the fact that your creativity was siphoned off and
Yep.
you felt creatively blocked. And then that, by opening it, it opens up and it dissolves all the other fucking problems, because like it dissolves you being like a negative Nelly on the golf cart versus like singing Aretha Franklin, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
It was
it
Anita Baker. It was Anita Baker.
okay, you know what I mean?
And the Commodores. I was going old school. I went back like an 8 track.
I love it. So, okay, tell me, like, because I think it's hard for me to explain to people what I do, because it is truly like a
You're
felt
magical. It's
experience.
magical. Just
It's a
magical.
felt experience, right? Like it's hard to conceptualize, like literally coming out of that cloud, because you're like, that can never fucking happen, right? So the intellectual mind
Okay.
takes over.
Yeah, I'll tell you how it went yesterday. And we've done this a couple of times. You and I have done this a couple of times. And so you'll be like, do this. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, fuck this. I don't want to let go of this. Like I'm holding on to it because
I'm
I like
right.
it. I want to hear, I don't want to release it. And so what it does is you actually have to like very quickly, like for me, like supercomputer, like I go, okay, whatever. Okay, whatever. Okay, fine, whatever. Okay, whatever. And then you almost like you're talking yourself off the ledge about it. Like you're like, okay, I have to let this go. Like I know that this is really what's got me all warbled. And like, do I want to sit with this or do I want to move forward with this? Like, it's kind of like, it's a real, it's a defining moment in like, you're putting yourself, you're calling yourself to the table. And
Mhm.
so it requires you to be really honest with yourself, and then really like let shit go. Because that's really what happened, right? Like I needed to let that particular moment go. And I had to believe that I let it go, to accept that it's gone.
Mhm.
And like I forgave myself and forgave that person and forgave the experience, knowing that it made me who I am again today, like going back to like that evolution and evolving as a person. But it's like the coolest thing. Like I'm saying, like I could go to therapy about it and I could complain about it and go with my best friends and complain about it and be pissed off and be a martyr and be miserable about it. But I'm just perpetuating that energy that doesn't really need to occupy my space anymore. Or I could get really serious about releasing it, having you walk me through and guide me on how to do that. And then testing if it actually sticks, right? And you are great at that because you're like, yeah, okay, try again. And I'm like, I can't even lie to her because she can see that yeah, she's right. I'm not done with it. Like I can lie to her, but I'm not done with it. So here we go.
And that's
Going
the
back
beauty of
in.
me being in your consciousness. It's like I can actually test on your consciousness whether or not
Yeah.
it's in there. So
Yeah. I
there is
can't
no
lie to you.
hiding. There's
Like you
like,
can lie to a therapist all day. You can lie to like a coach all day. You can, unless they're really intuitive, but just that's rare. Most of them, not that they're not, but that just goes against their like teachings and their methodology. But like I can't lie to you because I'm like, dang, she knows, bro. And so what happens is something that you may have been holding on to for a long time or is like perplexing you and you know it's bothering you, it's gone. Like you get through it really quickly and you're like, cool, I can move on. And like I'm like light and I feel airy again and I feel inspired again. And it's truly like it's the best thing that like I've ever done, like to be honest. And we just started doing this together back in like October, November, right?
yeah, yeah.
And we've done a couple of sessions and I love it. I think it's awesome. Like I tell everybody, I'm like, you need to call, I'm like, call Victoria. She will help you with all of your problems. I don't even care. Just call her. I don't even need to know. Just like, what's your birthday? What time were you
Yeah.
born? And then I'm like, bro, like, yeah, she said call her now. She's got you on. Like, just
I know
call
you
her.
send human design charts all the time, and I'm like, oh, okay, this isn't this.
And you're like, who is this? I was like, it's not really important. I'm just having a conversation with someone that I need to better understand because they're just this got me. I can't pinpoint. Just give me some highlights. Give me 5 bullet points. Cool.
So what would you say like to those people that you're like, call Victoria? Like what do you say to people who are on the fence of trying something like this? Because it truly is different than anything else that anybody's tried, right? Like my practice is so unique and I've had so many people be like, how the fuck do you do that, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not a traditional approach, and many even psyche practitioners don't go to the level of depth with the subconscious that I do, right? And so it's
Mm-hmm.
like I kind of have this culmination of all this shit that I do in one session. So what would you say to somebody that's like, on the fence of trying it? Like, what would be your advice in your wisdom?
Um, I would say, I would say it is the fastest way to get to a great place in your life and in your development. Meaning, like obviously, like I said, I've been holding on to this for a few months. It's been really perplexing me. I've been stuck. I didn't know why. And I called you out of the blue, and you were like, we should do that, and I was like, yeah, let's do that. Like it just kind of, and basically like don't live with your crap, or if you want to become the next best version of yourself, or if there's something that has just been holding you back, like a past trauma or someone wronged you or job, or like life just feels like it's just throwing just darts at you all the time, like have this done, because there could be something energetically or subconsciously that's magnetizing that to you, right? And you don't realize the power of your thoughts and the power of your subconscious that create an environment for you that you optimally probably don't want. and to become better at your job, to become a better human, to become a better parent or a partner. You know, it's super important. And I think that nobody wants to spend, you know, 9 months once a week complaining about their life. They want
Right.
solutions, they want action, they want to be like, okay, I'm done sitting with this. Like, I want to get out of it. How can I get there fast? How can I get there in a way that's healthy? Doesn't require drugs, it doesn't require like sedation, like, you know, hypnosis, all that kind of stuff. It's a self-awareness, and it honestly teaches you to be really honest with yourself. And a lot of people, that's a hard thing to do, right? It helps you break through not just on that particular thing, but all of those psychological like things that perplex us or hold us back that we
Yeah.
aren't even fully aware of. Like, we think, but then we go and we're like, oh, that's what that was. And it's mind blowing that it's so quick. But
Yeah.
the reality too is you have to desire to want to change. But if someone is at that point where they're like, they know they need to do something, they're already at the place where they desire change. Coming to you and allowing you to help them is probably the most brilliant thing they could do. It's
Yeah.
it's the most brilliant thing they could do. And you're just awesome. Like, I fucking love you. You're hilarious, you're funny, you're joyful, you're just brilliant. You're brilliant. I
I call
love
you out on
you.
your bullshit.
Absolutely. And I need people like that in my life because I have way too many super fan enablers, bro.
I was like yesterday, I was like, you believe the world is a terrible place and people are awful. Like that's what you believe. And if you want to
Yeah, I
continue,
did.
you can keep believing that. But I was like, do you want to believe that? And you're like, not really.
I just want to be a trust fund baby again. Hey, trust
And
fund baby.
what was my
Trust
fucking
fund.
advice? I said, we're going to unlock your creativity so you can build your own fucking trust fund because that's what we're doing here.
I
So,
know. Okay,
what are the next
fine.
steps for you? What are next steps? What's next on your journey since we've unblocked and uncovered and released?
Well, I'm going to finish my books that I've been wanting to finish for a while. There's a couple of really good ones in there. And I'm actually going to start telling my story. I'm going to just tell all the stories. I'm going to tell every story. I don't care how weird I look. I don't care how stupid I look. I don't care if people are like, what the hell is this girl doing? But I'm going to start with my divorce. I'm going to just start with like, this is what changed this holy shit moment, changed the trajectory of the last 12 years of my life.
Yeah.
And from there, how all of the beauty and all of the shit that's happened, and like how I've turned all of the shit into just gold and done something with it. And then along the way, like, evolved and healed and unpacked and met beautiful people like you, and wrote books about relationships and love and dating and things that I've never shared with people. But you know me, like, what is me? I'm a Colby. What am I on the Colby again? The quick
You're
start fact
yeah.
finder, and I'm a 6'2" manifesting generator. So I'm basically like a superhuman computer. Like,
Yeah.
so my brain never turns off. And I do drink gin sometimes to turn that off. But the reality is I felt broken, I felt pain, and I needed to solve for X. And so in that, I worked as hard as I possibly could to become the best version of myself and work through all of that pain. And in that, I realized it's something, humans are something I love. I love the human mind. I love psychology. I love psyche. I love conscious reprogramming. I love Reiki. I love prayer, manifestations, meditation, all that, that really tapping into the most powerful muscle in our body. And it truly dictates everything. And wanting to understand everybody on such a different level. Like, I want to know people to the depths of their soul so that I know, like, where's your pain? Where's your joy? And how can I love you? And that's how I treat my relationships anyway, even in business, right? I want to know who you are. I don't
Yeah.
really care if you're so and so, but if I don't like you, I don't want to do business with you. If I don't trust you, if I don't read your energy, right? You say one thing and you're doing something else, but your energy says something else. I'm like, mm-mm,
Mhm.
let's try that again.
That's kind of where
And
your cloud came from, right? It was like it was that
yeah,
distance between your intuition
yeah,
and what was actually being reflected to you and kind of having this hope and this trust. And you and I kind of identify with that. But I think it's just so awesome to like watch in such a short amount of time this cloud be removed and this life force come back and this
Mm-hmm.
ability to find opportunity and excitement in life again and to believe the world is a great place and that people are overall good and believe that you have so many endless opportunities to live out your purpose, to give your gifts, to make money while doing it, right? Like I think that was one of my favorite things from yesterday. It was just like you're sitting in these opportunities, but you're not unlocking them because your subconscious is blocked. And
Yeah,
now that that's gone, and I can't fucking wait to see like your book, because I can't wait. Like it's so great.
I love you. You're awesome.
Love you too. Well, thank you for letting me interview you for I don't even know how long we've been going, but um I love it. I love you. I'm proud
I
of
love
you.
you. I'm proud of
And
you too.
um
Everybody, call Victoria.
call me.
Do
Call
your
me
thing.
out tired of your bullshit and you want somebody to call you out and actually let it go.
You're the best.
Okay, I'm gonna stop recording.